Really enjoyed the film. I watched it yesterday.
Where are you?
I'm in London.
Oh, you're in London. That's great.
Yeah, it's raining a lot outside, or pissing down, as we say.
Yeah, I like the film.
Yeah.
I know
Um,
it's a bit corny. It's a bit corny at times. There's something magical about it, and I think that's just so honest, and that it's a COVID movie with barely $2 million to make it, which really fit the kind of style of where George Fuller was. Here he's trying to run a theater, on a 1950 salary, that runs out. There's no way they can win, but I love the fact they try no matter what.
yeah, you wouldn't tell it was made on 2 million. It looks much more expensive than that. It's a credit to Orson for that, I think.
We did it for like one and a half.
Wow, wow.
One and a half desperate, desperate choices, and everybody just brought their own special effects and magic to it. It felt like, even though we had more money shooting Hustle and Flow, it felt a lot like Hustle and Flow and Crash because, and I think it's as important as Crash was in that sense because our theaters is the heart pump of our community. You know, creativity comes through there. The blood is recycled in the theater. Gets new oxygen from the theater, filled with new ideas from the community coming together. And now we've lost our heart. So we have blood that's circulating centrifugally and never gets back to a centripetal pump and never gets to a recharging thing. And I think our species will suffer as a result from it.
Yeah. So on this project, just going right back to the very start for you, what can you recall your kind of first involvement and how you kind of came to be attached to this project and what it was about the story and this character that really enticed you in?
Well, my handler, I have to say, um, she read the script and told me that I should read it, and I looked at it, and at first I was like, I'm not in the mood for it. I don't play a film with some failing action star. I think it's a flop. Da da da. And then I started reading it, and I was laughing out loud at some of the outlandish ideas they had associated with it. I was cracking up out loud. And then when I talked to the director, to Orson, he said, "How much would I pay to star in it?" And it cracked me up again. And we ended up paying everything we had to star in it.
It's got a real it's very stylistic, I think, the film. It's got a kind of that sort of Tarantino-esque kind of quality of visual quality. Did you get a sense for that on the shoot or in the script? Could you tell it was going to be a film that looked very cinematic just from the page?
What and looking at the stuff on the page, I mean, the page, because it bounces between the world of cinema, reality, and make believe, and you kind of never know where you're fitting into it. Um, when Noah started lighting for those things, like you light for reality, and then the secondary, uh, the second level of reality, underneath the dream, and then other level, and his slight adjustment with the yellows, and then he would sink in a little more with the darker colors and be more and more saturated. And then damn near take everything out to a black and white. But he was really masterful about what he was trying to capture, and very quick to get us where we needed. And I love the texture of it. That's what I like, even though it's shot with the same 4K that everybody else is using, the same digital stuff. It it had a grainy feel to it, which I was just blown away.
Yeah,
I was,
yeah, because you really get a sense for like Orson's cinematic language and style from this. I just wondered, I mean, even just you answering that question just then, you seem to have a real appreciation for the kind of the art of kind of the visual look of a movie and stuff. Have you ever considered directing one day, or is that something you'd ever like to try your hand at?
I like the idea of it, but I like going back to my trailer for 20 20 minutes out of every 2 hours or something. The director is on set, the whole 17, 16 hour, and then has to go home, look at dailies, and start over again. I don't have that kind of dedication. I'm ADD or HDD, or I don't know how to really fit into the society, and trying to find my sense of morality that in a world that's amoral. Um, you you feel like you don't fit in, and I think that's where everybody, the honest people, the authentic ones, can identify with George, because it's not about just making the money. It's not about getting $5 million and moving, to some place where everything is taken care of. What happened to the life and the importance of living and enjoying life and your friends and your community? Once we lose that, it's we're headed for destruction. We're dead. We no longer have our traditions. That's what it feels. A city, a nation without traditions or culture anymore.
Yeah. I mean, because there is a relevance as well in the story to the modern world, and how kind of corporate developers are targeting effectively a family-run local institution. I mean, I'm from London. That's the kind of story of our city. Is that something that that you think is quite striking about this story? Is that the kind of rise of that side of society?
Well, we have to think politically. We're no longer being run really by nations. It's conglomerates that runs the nations. It's these huge corporations that really have the money to spend for the lobbyists, that affects the political arena and all of the choices that's being made. I think it has been spearheaded towards this new world order, where we lose all of our rights and ultimately become cattle, as we are signing ourselves up to become. And the very few people that will fight back, like the George Fullers out there, these are the Reds. These are more of the conservatives that are really fighting for their traditions. That's who we are. But I think the war has begun, and it's just soon that it's going to start getting bloody. The fight for independence and the fight for self-reflection and a sense of our own space and of who we are. I think it's time. I think the war is about to begin.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I also think another thing I took from this movie, and it's on the more kind of positive side, is it just has a great affection, I think, for cinema and the kind of movie theatre experience. Do you go to the cinema often, or to the movie theatre, I should say? Are you able to kind of keep up with what's out at the moment?
Well, no, most of the time you're not able to get out there. Most films come directly, they go into streaming right away, and you'll bump into them, but you don't see the advertisement for it. You don't get excited about it. It's definitely not in the movie theater. It's in the movie theater for 3 days before they switch it out. You don't get a chance to experience the theater the way you really want to. We're trying to do something. What's the name of the theater that Malco? We're working with Malco Theaters out of Memphis, to try and get the film seen in their theaters, but also to do a one-man show in conjunction with it, and encourage the economic development teams within the individual cities to now start having some of their political meetings inside of the theater, whether it's on independent, Democratic, or Republican. Let's start getting the city commissioner and things of that nature to start including theater in a little bit of all of the city meetings, all the things that they're having. Because if the city doesn't look after the theater, then the theater won't be there to guide the children or to guide the adults in it. So we're big Cinema Paradiso fans, and I think you can feel that sense in the movie in a bigger way. That's the biggest comparison we were trying to get to, was, to tell that authentic same story that they were able to tell in Cinema Paradiso.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who obviously has a great affection and really values the movie theatre experience, do you remember what your first really memorable trip to the theatre was when you were a kid?
Ooh, it was sneaking in and seeing The Exorcist.
Nice. How old?
Watching it, I was like 8 years old, and we lived right around the theater from 42nd Street in New York, in Hell's Kitchen. And I snuck over to one of those theaters on 42nd Street, and they had The Exorcist playing, and then they also had a skin flick playing. That had no business seeing the stuff that I saw, but it shocked the heck out of me. Exorcist scared me to Jesus, and the other one scared me into to all kind of stuff. So cinema can change your life in a lot of different ways. It all depends on what's being seen and what your appetite is. Like I ultimately fell in love with like Mary Poppins and things of that nature. I love those kind of films. I like musicals and theater, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Those are the movies that move me and that developed my imagination. And those are the things I wish could come back, but I don't think they're going to come back until we go through the post-apocalyptic world.
There's obviously I can see there is a reason and a cause to have a bit of disillusionment at the moment with the kind of the industry. And I just know in the past you felt that you've given all you can. But have you found a new lease of life of late for this for film and for the industry, or are you? What's your kind of future hold at the moment?
I still feel like I've George was kind of like a last pass for me. I'm still on more than likely on my way out of the industry regarding that. I found some joy and new things that I could bring with George, but the plight to being happy in this industry is really, really, really difficult, with the lack of creativity or a lack of respect being shown to the creatives. And it's more of a struggle, a day-to-day struggle just to eat and stay mentally sound in this business. And once the AI really takes our images and starts working at full capacity, there'll be no more need for actors, and actors won't be paid. We've started a new program called Holly, an attempt to democratize the entertainment industry, an app where you'll be able to audition from home or anywhere. But the question is, will there be a need for actors if the studios continue moving in the direction that they're moving? And I think there won't be unless we build an alternative world. And we're fighting as actors and creatives to keep our place in this industry.
I mean, if you were to kind of you say maybe one day think about kind of saying goodbye to the industry, could you see yourself taking up a new role entirely somewhere, so studying something completely different or investing in something?
Yeah,
Would you ever envisage a full-on kind of career change?
I've already started making those strides. I invented a new form of flight called linchpin. If you look it up, LYNCHPIN, and Terrence Howard, I invented tangential flight, the ability to fly around your own center of mass and unlimited bonding. My role is more in the sciences now and in the world of mathematics, in the tech aspect of it in comparison to the acting side of it. So I've enjoyed being an actor, but the 97 odd patents that I hold and trademarks and things of that nature, they're moving. But wait till you get a chance to look up Linchpin or go to my book, TCOTLC.com. Tango Charlie Oscar, Tango Lever Charlie.com, and you'll tap on in a green clover and you'll see what my real passions are.
And just very finally, before I do go, because obviously you mentioned, you have had a sort of a great career in film and worked with some great people in some great movies. And obviously, in this instance, you got to collaborate with Dolph Lundgren, who's a bit of a hero of the action movie circuit. I just wanted to ask before I leave, how was that experience for you?
It was great because when I was 16, 17, I watched Dolph Lundgren in Rocky IV, and I had a poster up. I wanted his body. That was the body that I wanted when I wanted to be Drago. You know, I wanted Drago's power. So having him be my hero in this movie, and the fact that my character learned how to sword fight and all of that from watching, you know, Dolph, it was a bit surreal. And so, like that last statement that I made to him, thank you for being the best hero and a little boy could ever want, you know, that was honest. He was really my hero. I really, really loved working with him. And he's such a dramatically gifted actor. Like, I didn't expect him to play with the character way that he did. He actually had fun with it. He was brilliant, was really brilliant. So, you know, self-deprecating, you know, but humble. It was beautiful.
I just like the fact that when you were a kid, you preferred to be Drago rather than Rocky. Most kids wanted to be Rocky.
Drago, beautiful. Drago was like, he dies.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Terrence. It's been great to speak to you. Best of luck with the release of the movie and with whatever you've got coming up.
All right. I hope you enjoyed the movie, though. We did the very best we could.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey, you guys.
Hey You Guys.
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey You Guys.
Hey, you guys!